Well, hello there, and you join us here today, perhaps as someone with a slightly smaller wrist looking for a 36mm watch. Think the search is tough? Think again, we have got 20 from cheap to expensive. If you like this content and you want to support the channel, please do click on the watchfinder.com link in the description below. Thank you so much, it really does help. Tom, as someone whose wrist isn't the tree trunkiest, which is a description I've just invented, I imagine that a 36mm watch is actually something you'd be quite interested in purchasing.
Yes, I know that 99% of males are Dame Judy hench and have colossal wrists, but I'm a svelte kind of guy. And even so, you know, if you do like chunkier watches, sometimes it's nice to let your wrist take the day off and just cruise with the smaller lightweight watch. So this is a whole bunch of 36mm watches and under. And I'm going to start with an Accurist at the very, very lower end of the pricing bracket. This is £139 for the everyday unisex watch in stainless steel, with stainless steel bracelet and a beautiful Cambridge blue dial there, nice icy blue sunburst, and this is just a lovely everyday watch, and despite its very reasonable price tag, it's actually very fetching. You've got lovely applied markers, great quality watch, great price, can't really go wrong.
A Japanese quartz movement, so it is reliable. 50 meters of water resistance, so you can get a little bit splishy splashy, but ultimately if you have any questions about the spec of this watch, the answer will always be, it's £139.
Yeah, exactly.
How deep can it go underwater? It's £139. How long will the battery last? It's £139. What more do you want?
Yeah, get over yourself.
Well, if you do want a little bit more, there is also the Timex Marlin. This is a 34mm watch. It's very small, but it is very, very elegant. It harks back to the earliest wristwatches of the early 1900s. They're with a very unusual California dial where they split the Roman numerals at the top with the traditional Arabic markers at the bottom. It's believed that Rolex was one of the first people to do this design, and it was done to determine the difference between the upper half of the dial and the lower half of the dial very, very clearly. And it even gets a cheeky little upgrade from the previous Accurist by having a hand-wound movement. That means you can wind it up just like your great-grandpappy did when he wore one just like it. You get 30 meters of water resistance, but really you probably don't want to be splashing around too much in this. It is a delicate wear for a delicate wrist. Did I say it was £179?
California dials know how to party. Moving on then to TISSOT, a friend of the budget watch buyer. This is the SEASTAR 1000 36mm watch. So the 1000, that means it can go to a depth of 1000 feet. That's 300 meters. So it's not quite a deep sea, but it looks like one, in lovely duotone gold and black on a steel case. You've got a nice bezel, chunky hands, and nice gold fringe indices there. So you've got 316L steel case, Swiss quartz movement, screw down crown and case back, lovely shimmery sunburst black dial, and sapphire crystal, and nice bit of lume as well for visibility in the dark. Yeah, really cool stylish watch, nice size and a nice price for £410.
It's great to see that classic dive watch style wearable in a smaller size, because traditionally they've been quite chunky, and this one, especially combined with the gold as well, wears a little bit more cash. What's not cash though, Tom, what is absolutely for a hot date is the Seiko Presage Cocktail Time Bellini. Who doesn't love a tasty, tasty Bellini? This is a £429 gold-looking Seiko from the Cocktail Time collection. It's got the caliber 4R35 inside, which is an automatic Japanese movement, but it also has that beautifully textured dial, that radiating pattern of ridges that really catches the light and elevates this watch to the next level. You would think that perhaps this kind of quality of dress watch isn't available at this price, but absolutely Seiko have managed to make it happen. It may not be solid gold. If it were, it would be a lot more expensive. Water resistance is just 50 meters, just for a little bit of splash proofness if you get a little bit too carried away drinking those cocktails, but otherwise it is a high quality watch and absolutely worth your time and attention.
Moving on then to a pair of watches from Nodus. This is the Unity, and it comes in the topaz blue and blossom pink, very vibrant colours. And there's some lovely details on this watch in 36.5 millimeters. Oh no, we're breaking the rules. But if you get it on the wrist, it very much wears like a 36 millimeter watch, and we round down. So most interesting about these watches is the texture on the dial. It's sort of like a textural sunray pattern that looks like if you cut a lime in half. And you've also got a nice ceramic bezel around the outside of the dial, which is very nicely smooth with a flush ceramic insert in there. The case is steel. You've got a screw down crown and a nice boxy domed sapphire crystal there. 150 meters of water resistance. Looks great on the wrist in 36.5 mil. And with those really vibrant colours, this is a really cool choice for someone with a smaller wrist.
There's an automatic Miyota caliber inside, very reliable and affordable, but I especially like the overall treatment of the watch. Using familiar aspects in an unusual way. So beyond the dial texture, you even have the sandwiched markers so the lume glows out from behind. And the lume even glows around the colour matched date window, which is something I've never seen before. So well done, Nodus, for thinking of something different.
Hurrah!
If something different is very much not what you're after, though, for £790, you can have the Hamilton KHAKI Aviation Pilot Pioneer Mechanical. This is a watch that harks back to the pilot's watches of yesteryear, only updated for modern use. It gets the H50 hand-wound movement with 80 hours of power reserve. So although it is hand-wound, you don't have to wind it every single day, but you get all of that lovely aesthetic from the Royal Air Force watch of 1973. There's a very granular textured dial, which I want to pick at with my nail, but thankfully there's a crystal in the way preventing me from doing that. And some lovely cream lume for the hands and markers too. It comes on a NATO. There is a steel tonneau case in 36mm by 33mm, and overall it all comes together to really set off that I wish I was a pilot from the olden days vibe, which I do.
We all do. Moving on then to a watch from Marathon, the field watch experts. This is the 36mm Arctic Edition medium divers quartz. So this is known as the medium search and rescue quartz, or MSAR quartz. Marathon search and rescue watches are developed for the Canadian government requirements for use in SAR search and rescue operations. So built to withstand extreme conditions, and so you get a very overbuilt case. You get that nice off-road tyre bezel there and a knurled crown. It looks very chunky. You've got the cool little tubes, the vials of luminescent material, which is the tritium gas tubes filled with Mara glow, so that gives you nighttime visibility. Look really cool on the fresh snowy Arctic dial there. Radiation symbol adds to the street cred, and overall this is just a really cool robust watch in steel with brush finishing on the case. You get 300 meters of water resistance, Swiss ETA high torque movement inside, all in the compact case size of 36mm, and all for the princely sum of $800.
I want to clarify on this medium search and rescue. It doesn't mean that it's for search and rescue teams who sort of look a little bit and then give up.
Yeah.
It's the medium size of the watch, I believe.
Or if you've got stuck up a medium-sized mountain.
The little search and rescue team comes along and says, "Oh no, I can't do that. You have to get the medium search and rescue boys in for that one."
Yeah, we only brought the medium ladders.
If you like your smaller watch with a splash of enamel, then Seiko has got exactly what you're looking for at £1,220. This is the Seiko Presage Eternal at 34.3mm, a very classic wristwatch size that is coming back into trend. Packs the automatic caliber 6R31 at -15 to +25 seconds per day, but really the pièce de résistance, as I believe the French like to say, is that enamel dial.
The irresistible piece.
Printed Roman numerals, leaf hands, that crescent moon tipped second hand as well is all very, very flashes of Cradle here, but for very much Seiko money. And this is enamel, so you get that very, very nicely, slightly translucent, shiny finish to the dial. It's not very well reflected in pictures, but in person it feels like the best bathtub you've ever been in.
Here we have a big crown bronze pointer date from Oris, and so key takeaways from that title of the watch there is it's bronze, which is very lovely, and it has a pointer date, which is sort of a specialty of Oris's. It's kind of a rare complication. So the days of the month are numbered around the outer track of the dial there, and the date is like an extra hand, like a fourth hand on the dial that points to the day. So that's fun. You got a nice cathedral hands and a sort of nice desaturated green here. It looks very classy, very rich, very characterful, very charming watch from Oris here. You've got a Solita movement inside that's been adapted by Oris for the pointer date, and a leather strap, and it costs £1,850 for a very interesting watch.
Tom, if you're looking for absolute bang for the buck for your sub 36mm watch, then allow me to draw your attention to the Nomos Tangente. This is the watch that has people with larger wrists wringing their hands in desperation because it is such an incredible value for money opportunity. £1,860 for a German watch with heat blued hands, silvered dial, in-house movement with a sapphire caseback that you can see. Everything about this watch is incredibly beautiful, from the Bauhaus design to the execution of every single facet, which stand up to much higher scrutiny than you would expect for the price point. Nomos really take great pride in everything they do, specifying even the exact temperature that they heat blue their hands at. If you're looking for a watch that is going to stand out from the crowd, that's going to have a level of quality that can rival watches 2-3 times the price, and you can get away with wearing a smaller watch, the Nomos 35mm Tangente is very hard to beat.
Lovely, simple and clean. Next up, we've got another new watch from Christopher Ward. So this is getting ready for release in mid-December. This is the 12 Halo. So we've already seen the 12, and this is an iteration of that. In 36mm, you've got all those wonderful facets and angles and edges and the mixture of polished and brush finishing. But now the 12-sided bezel that gives the watch its name is in fully polished 18-karat rose gold. And you may also notice that there's very little going on the dial, aside from the rose gold hands and logo, and a little bit of text that says automatic and Swiss made, referring to the Solita movement inside. Yeah, beautifully elegant watch.
£2,195. It's a nice combination of having gold that's solid gold but not making it too expensive and not going for plating instead. The design has divided people. I personally think it's rather nice. And also, if you saw that Audemars Piguet Alex collaboration with the plain dial come out a few weeks ago, and you can't afford that, then this is going to tick a lot of those boxes. Great to see Christopher Ward doing stuff that is different and interesting on top of the very popular pieces it's already done. Careful not to do too many things now, Christopher Ward, because you might end up with too much homework. Tom, one of the first vintage throwback watches to come out in recent years was the Longines Legend Diver, and was a real entry point for many people into buying their first luxury watch. For a lot of people, though, the long lugs made it quite a big wear, and at 42mm it was quite prohibitively large. But they have since made that same watch in 36mm, which wears actually slightly larger, again because of those longer proportionally lugs. At £2,350, you can have that dual crown compressor case style from Longines on your wrist in a smaller size. It does come with a date. Some people are a little bit fussy about whether it has a date or not, but I suppose people who have smaller wrists can't be choosers, as the saying goes, and at least this great watch is available. Two crowns, one for winding and setting, one for turning the bezel on the inside. It was actually a design of dive watch that was better than what you traditionally see, but it was more expensive. So not only are you getting a great watch with great heritage for that £2,350, you're also getting a mechanically more complex watch too. Perfect for the smaller wrist that wants to wear the 36mm diver.
Moving on then to a new TAG Heuer Carrera. The TAG Heuer Carrera Date. So another iteration in the Carrera line, this time in 36mm in steel. This is the silver one. I believe there's a few variations. You've got green and blue, as well as Ryan Gosling's Ken style pink, which is quite bold. Sporting thinner lugs and an ultra ergonomic form factor. This is a perfect balance between elegance and everyday comfort. So nice sunray dials in those various colours I just mentioned. The new Caliber 7 automatic movement inside, which gives you 56 hours of power reserve. £2,750 for this one.
I'm also very pleased to see that this is a very inclusive watch, because you can not only add to cart and buy in store, you can also order it by phone.
Hey, my mum would be happy.
Tom, if we're talking about classic watches though, we cannot skip by the Tudor Black Bay 36. This is a watch that borrows very much from the Oyster Perpetual and other such watches from the Rolex family from back in the day when Tudor were making cheaper alternatives, and still they continue to do so, but the specs on this thing are absolutely jumping. You get the Caliber MT 5400, which is COSC certified. You get a 5-link Jubilee style bracelet with a flip-lock crown. You get a beautiful blue sunburst dial if you choose the blue version. Lovely loomed hands and markers with the snowflake hand, all for £3,260, which, at, as we'll find out, a lot cheaper than the Rolex equivalent, is an utter bargain.
Yeah, great, tidy little watch with a power reserve of 70 hours and a water resistance of 100 metres. This is just unflinchingly watch, isn't it?
It is watch.
Cool. Another watch is the Breitling CHRONOMAT Automatic 36. This is a beautifully sleek design. Again, it straddles sporty and chic. Lots of lovely design elements going on in this watch, but it looks very coherent. It almost looks like one piece, that it's almost kind of frozen in carbonite. You've got this bezel and almost integrated case there. You've got the sort of faux lug lines there. Beautiful bandolier style bracelet, which is really cool. Sunray blue dial and other colours are available. It's deeply cool, very elegant, goes with anything, and it's $5,100 US.
It's a great watch to wear on the daily, 100 metres of water resistance, 42 hours of power reserve from the self-winding Breitling 10 caliber. It's also great to see Breitling making watches for people who don't have wrists that could block a tunnel. Seeing smaller watches from Breitling means more people can wear them and enjoy them, and this is a particularly enjoyable design, so I'm glad it's going to be more universally wearable. But speaking of universally wearable, Tom, this is probably the most universally wearable watch on the planet. It is the Rolex Oyster Perpetual. You can have it in any size you like, pretty much, and 36mm is one of them. There are a bunch of different colour choices. You can pretty much have any one of those that you like, so long as it's black. The other colours are probably not available to you unless you want to wait a really long time, but it kind of doesn't matter. If you can afford the £5,100 that this thing costs, it is a watch that you can buy and wear forever. It is the watch. If you need to sell it because you've been captured by rebels in Outer Mongolia, you can. If you want to go diving with it, you can. It's got 100 metres of water resistance. If you knock it about, it's rugged, but it's also very beautiful as well, so you can wear it with a suit too. There's a reason why Rolex sells so many of these things, and it's because, well, if that other watch was watch, this is double watch squared to the power of 10.
It really is, isn't it? Next, we've got a 36mm watch from Cartier. This is the BALLON BLEU de Cartier watch. It's a mechanical watch with automatic winding. The case is steel with a fluted crown set with my favourite blue cabochon shaped spinel. The dial is beautifully guillocheed and opaline, and the guilloche texture is going every which way in a very nice sort of luxurious sort of dinner party setting fanned napkin style, I think they were going for. Very elegant. Sapphire crystal blue steel sword-shaped hands and a black alligator skin strap. It's thin at 12.1 millimeters, so will slide under a billowy cuff. Bit of water resistance, 30 meters approximately. So maybe if you're pushed into the grand fountain after the cocktail party, it'll probably be all right. This is a £5,800 watch.
Not traditionally seen as a dude's watch and favourite of Kate Middleton, Cartier have done a very good job of making their watches incredibly universal by offering them in different sizes, and this 36mm bang right in the middle is wearable by anyone. It's incredibly smooth, and I mean that literally. The case and the crystal blend into each other perfectly, and it has that cool pebble feel that I so desperately want to put into my mouth. I also think that this would have been a better choice for Rihanna to wear as a choker watch, as she has recently been doing with a Jacob & Co. It's got that perfect, should go just right here look about it. The cool kids know what I mean. Tom, if you wanted a Rolex watch that is ever so watch, but you want it to be a little bit more watch, perhaps a bit more like watch, then I would draw your attention to the Rolex Explorer 36.
Yeah.
Very much like the Oyster Perpetual, but it has extra numbers, and extra numbers means extra adventure, as we all know. Same Oyster steel, same caliber, same power reserve, same all of that stuff, but it carries the Explorer name. And of course, the Explorer is the watch that heralds that first trip up to the summit of Everest, where Rolex wasn't present. Never mind that, though, this is still an incredibly good watch, and at £6,100, you're paying a little bit more than the Oyster Perpetual, but you're getting a little bit more, you know, extra watchness. It's one of my favourite watches of all time, Tom, and it should be yours too, and it should also be yours. £6,100.
Sold! Next we have a 36mm watch from Omega. This is the Constellation coaxial master chronometer. So I would struggle to describe the case and bezel styling to you, so I'll just read what Omega has to say about it. So its dramatic and enduring design, the Constellation is characterised by its famous half moons claws on the case and mono-rang bracelet. Okay.
Monorang, is that a singular of orangutan?
I don't know, but you get the picture, or not. So, yeah, 36mm in stainless steel. The bezel is engraved with Roman numerals, and you've got a sun-brushed black dial. Sun-brushed is very much the theme, isn't it? Date window at 6 o'clock position. The hands, Omega logo, and Constellation star and markers are all in 18-karat white gold, which is very, very nice. Beautiful timepiece from Omega, and the price tag is £6,100.
The Constellation name harks back to the observatory trials that Omega used to attend and wipe the floor with everyone else. They made very, very accurate movements, and you get to see this one through the caseback. Traditionally, the Constellation had a solid caseback with an embossed depiction of the observatory. Here, thanks to those fancy materials, you don't need that for the anti-magnetism. And of course, my favourite thing about it is the famous half moons, claws.
And the mono-rang bracelet, don't forget that.
To wrap up our collection of mid-size watches, this is the DEFY Skyline 36 from Zenith, and once again it's great to see those really cool designs coming in sizes that are more suitable for smaller wrists. It's giving you all of that 1970s aesthetic, so if you saw that Christopher Ward earlier and thought, I do want to spend £7,500 instead, you absolutely can. You get the Elite 670 movement inside, which is a firm favourite of Zenith, and you get that bloopy dial with all those little spots on there that actually, when you think about it, look like stars in between them, which is quite cool.
Yeah, this is a butational watch that will certainly enliven any wrist to a factor of fun. For £7,500.
Totality. Wonderful. Well, there you have it. 20 in fact, watches at 36mm and below, except for one which was half a mil high. Tommy broke the rules again.
I know.
Thank you so much for watching. If there's a 36mm watch you think we should have considered, let us know in the comments down below. In the meantime, please do check out watchfinder.com. It really helps us out, and we will see you next time. Goodbye.